The training hall of Station K-47 was loud and bright. Metal walls echoed with alien voices, boots, and sharp commands. Hundreds of trainees stood in rows, each one taller, stronger, and more dangerous than the last dot than the human walked in. Hippie was late. The doors opened slowly, and all eyes turned toward him. He was shorter than most trainees. His armor looked plain. His steps were calm, not proud. No weapons were visible on him. A low sound moved through the hall. Laughter. Some trainees whispered. Others did not bother to hide it. A few aliens looked at him with open amusement, as if he did not belong there. "Is that a joke?" one of them said. Another laughed louder. "That is a human? I expected more." The human trainee stopped near the back row. He did not react. He did not look angry. He only stood straight and waited. A tall female alien officer walked forward. Her armor was sharp and dark. Her rank symbol showed experience and authority. She looked at the human from head to toe, so she said, her voice clear and cold, "This is the human trainee." More laughter followed. She walked in a slow circle around him. "You are smaller than I thought," she continued. "Slower, weaker. Do you really believe you can survive here?" The human said nothing. That made them laugh even more. "You humans always act brave," another trainee said. "But bravery does not stop claws." The officer stopped in front of him. "Look at me," she ordered. The human raised his eyes. They were calm. That annoyed her. "This is not your planet," she said. "This is not your kind of war. Apex hunters train nearby. If they see you, you will not last 10 seconds. Some trainees nodded. Everyone knew the Apex hunters. They were the deadliest force in the galaxy. They did not train. They hunted. The officer turned away, smiling. "Try not to die too quickly," she said. "It will slow the rest of us." The human trainee was assigned to the lowest position. No one wanted him near their team. Training began. Combat drills. Reaction tests. Survival exercises. The aliens moved fast and strong. The human moved differently. He did not rush. He watched. When others attacked with power, he waited. When others failed, he adjusted. Still, the laughter continued. "He is scared," someone whispered. "He is useless," another said. Then the lights flickered. A fluffered. Sharp alarm cut through the hall. Once, twice, 3 times. Silence fell instantly. Red symbol appeared on the main screen. Apex Hunter Proximity WARNING. Every trainee froze. Even the officer stopped smiling. The room changed. Strong warriors who laughed moments ago now stood tense. Some looked at exits. Others checked weapons with shaking hands. The Apex hunters were not part of training. They were never supposed to be this close. "Remain calm," the officer said, but her voice was no longer confident. "All trainees, prepare for emergency protocol." Eyes moved toward the doors. Then something strange happened. The human trainee did not move. While others panicked, he stayed still. While fear spread, his breathing stayed slow. The officer noticed. She turned sharply. "You," she said, "human, get to shelter now." He did not move. That surprised her. "I said move." She shouted. The human finally spoke. His voice was quiet, simple, clear. "Permission to stay." The hall went silent again. Some trainees stared at him in shock. Others laughed nervously. Has he lost his mind? Someone said. The officer stepped closer, anger and confusion mixing on her face. "You are a trainee," she said. "You will obey orders." The human met her eyes. "If Apex hunters are here," he said calmly, "then hiding will not help." That made the room colder. The alarm grew louder. Closer. The Apex hunters were approaching. For the first time since he arrived, no one laughed. And for the first time, someone wondered, why was the human not afraid? Asterisk, the alarm did not stop. It grew louder, deeper, like a warning from the station itself. Red lights filled the training hall, washing every face in fear. The apex hunters were close, very close. Senior officers rushed in through side doors. Their movements were fast, but their faces were tight. These were veterans, beings who had survived wars across star systems. Yet even they looked uneasy. One officer spoke quickly into a device. Confirm location. A pause, then the answer came. Outer perimeter breached. Apex Hunter scouts confirmed. The room froze. Some trainees swallowed hard. Others stepped back without realizing it. No one laughed anymore. The female officer who had mocked the human earlier clenched her fists. The situation was bad. Worse than expected. She turned to the trainees. Emergency formation, she ordered. Protect the command corridor. Teams moved fast. Alien warriors took positions. Weapons powered on. Then she remembered. The human, he was still standing in the same place, not hiding. Not running. Watching. Double quotes human, she shouted. Get behind the shield line, now. He looked at the large energy barrier forming at the end of the hall. Then he looked at the officers. That shield will not hold, he said calmly. The officer stared at him. What did you say? They hunt patterns, the human continued. Static defense attracts them. Someone laughed nervously. You think you know apex hunters better than us? The human did not reply. Another explosion shook the station. Dust fell from the ceiling. The lights dimmed for a second. This time, fear showed clearly. The apex hunters were testing defenses. A senior commander stepped forward. What is your name, human? The human looked at him. Daniel, he replied. Just one name. The commander nodded. Daniel, this is not a debate. These creatures kill for instinct. You will follow orders. Daniel tilted his head slightly. They kill weakness, he said, and panic. The commander hesitated. That small pause changed everything. A scream echoed through the corridor outside. Then silence. Heavy footsteps followed. Slow, measured. Hunters. The door at the far end of the hall bent inward. Metal screamed as something struck it. From the other side. Once. Twice. The shield activated fully. Everyone held their breath. Daniel moved. He stepped forward, away from the shield line. What are you doing? The female officer demanded. Buying time, he answered. He picked up a drop device from the floor. Not a weapon. A training tool. Several aliens stared in disbelief. That won't even scratch them. One whispered. Daniel placed the device near a support pillar, then another. Then a third. He moved with purpose now. Fast. Focused. The door exploded inward. The first apex hunter entered. It was massive. Black armor fused to its body. Eyes glowing faint red. Claws sharp enough to tear steel. Even trained warriors stepped back. The hunter sniffed the air. Then it stopped. It looked directly at Daniel. The room felt colder. The hunter tilted its head. Confused. Daniel did not run. He tapped his device once. A sharp sound filled the hall. Not loud, but precise. The hunter flinched. Just for a moment. That moment mattered. The devices activated together. The floor shifted. Panels dropped. The hunter lost balance. It roared. The sound shook the walls. Weapons fired instantly. Energy blasts hit armor. But the hunter did not fall. It stood. Again. Angrier. Then something unexpected happened. The hunter stepped back. It studied the floor, the walls. Daniel. The second hunter appeared behind it. Then the third. They did not charge. They observed. The female officer felt her throat tighten. There. Thinking, she whispered. Daniel slowly stepped back toward the line. They always do, he said quietly. The apex hunters growled low, not in rage. In warning. They backed away from the doorway. Slowly. Carefully. No One move. No one spoke. The hunters vanished into the corridor. The alarm stopped. Silence filled the hall. Again, everyone stared at the human trainee. The laughter from earlier felt distant, wrong. The female officer looked at Daniel with new eyes. Fear, of the hunters. But of what? The human knew, and this time, no one dared to mock him. The silence did not last. For several long seconds, no one moved inside the training hall. Weapons stayed raised. Eyes stayed fixed on the broken doorway. The apex hunters had retreated, but no one believed they were gone. Daniel stood quietly among the others. He did not smile. He did not celebrate. He was listening. The female officer finally broke the silence. "All units remain alert," she said. Her voice was steady, but her hands were not. "This is not over." Some trainees slowly relaxed. A few even let out weak laughs. "They ran," one whispered. "We scared them." Daniel turned his head slightly. "No," he said. "They were measuring us." That sentence removed the smiles. Before anyone could ask what he meant, the lights went out. Complete darkness. Then emergency lights, activated low and blue. A warning tone sounded. Multiple movement signals. The station shook again. Not from explosions this time. From impact. Something heavy landed on the upper levels. Then another. And another. They're surrounding the station. A technician shouted. Panic spread fast. The apex hunters were not attacking directly. They were cutting off escape. Smart. Too smart. Daniel moved toward a wall display and activated it. He studied the movement pattern silently. The senior commander watched him. "What do you see?" he asked. "They learned," Daniel replied. "They won't rush again." A scream echoed through a side corridor. Then gunfire. Then silence. Everyone froze. That corridor led to the medical bay. A squad had been stationed there. No one answered the call. The female officer clenched her jaw. "Send a response team," she ordered. No one volunteered. Not at first. Daniel stepped forward. "I'll go," he said. Several heads turned sharply. "You are not combat ready," the officer snapped. Daniel met her eyes. "I am human," he sighed. "That's enough." The commander hesitated. Then nodded. "Two guards with him," he ordered. 3 figures moved into the corridor. The air felt heavy. The walls were dark and narrow. Emergency lights flickered. Every sound felt louder. They reached the medical bay entrance. The door was torn open. Inside, equipment lay shattered. Beds overturned. Blood dark and thick covered the floor. One guard swallowed hard. They didn't even fight back. He whispered. Daniel crouched near the floor. He touched the blood. Fresh. "They waited," he said. "They let fear do the work." A low growl echoed behind them. Too close. The guards turned and fired. Energy blasts lit the corridor. Something moved. Fast. Too fast. One guard was pulled into the darkness. His scream cut short. Daniel grabbed the second guard and pulled him back. "Fall back," Daniel ordered. They ran. The corridor shook as something slammed into the walls. The hunters were chasing them. Daniel threw a small device behind them. It exploded. Not with fire, but with sound. A sharp, painful tone. The hunters slowed. Only for a second. Enough. They reached the hall, and the doors sealed shut. Everyone stared at Daniel. The second guard collapsed, shaking. "They hunt fear," Daniel said, breathing hard. "And now they enjoy it." The station trembled again. This time, a message appeared on the central screen. An alien symbol. Then translation activated. Human, you are observed. Gasps filled the hall. "They're communicating," someone whispered. The message continued. "You are not prey. You are threat." Daniel stared at the screen. "So now you understand," he said quietly. The female officer stepped closer. "What do they want?" Daniel did not look away. "They want to know," he said, "how dangerous humans really are." A loud shook the station. The shield line cracked, the apex. Hunters were not retreating anymore. They were preparing, and this time, they were coming for the human. The station lights flickered again, then stabilized. The shields were damaged, but still holding. For now. The message from the apex hunters stayed on the main screen. No movement. No sound, just waiting. Daniel stood in front of the display, his face calm but serious. He could feel every eye on him. The female officer finally spoke. "They singled you out," she said. "Why?" Daniel answered without turning. "Because I didn't run." That answer unsettled the room. "They expect prey to flee," Daniel continued. "When it doesn't, they slow down. They think." The senior commander folded his arms. "They're apex predators," he said. "They kill by instinct." Daniel shook his head slightly. "No, they kill by habit." The commander frowned. "There's a difference?" "Yes," Daniel replied. "Instinct can be broken. Habit can be studied." Another impact hit the outer hull. The station groaned. "They're testing again," a technician warned. Daniel turned to the officers. "They are trying to scare us into making mistakes." "Then what do we do?" the female officer asked. Daniel paused. "We choose," he said. That word felt strange in the room. Choose. Aliens were trained to follow orders, to react, to obey survival logic. Humans were different. Daniel walked toward the center of the hall. He pointed to the teams. "You fight because you are told to," he said. "I fight because I decide to." Some trainees felt anger. Others felt confusion. The hunters sent another message. "You fear extinction." Daniel stepped closer to the screen. "Yes," he said. "But fear doesn't control us." The hunters replied almost instantly. "Fear is control." Daniel smiled faintly. "That's where you're wrong." The screen went dark, then a massive shockwave hit the station. The shield line failed. Metal tore apart. The apex hunters entered from multiple corridors. This time, they did not hesitate. The battle exploded. Energy weapons fired. Screams echoed. Claws cut through armor. Aliens fought bravely, but predictably. The hunters moved around attacks, not through them. They learned fast. Too fast. Daniel moved through the chaos. He did not fight head-on. He moved people, closed doors, activated traps. He shouted simple commands. "Fall back. Don't chase. Break line of sight." Some listened. Some didn't. Those who didn't fell quickly. The female officer was knocked to the floor by a hunter's tail. Her weapon slid away. The hunter raised its claws. Daniel threw himself between them. The hunter froze. Its eyes locked on Daniel. It remembered him. Daniel stood still, not afraid, not angry, just ready. "You don't understand." "US," Daniel said calmly. "That's your mistake." The hunter circled him. Slow, careful. The entire hall seemed to pause. Yell spoke again. "You hunt to survive," he said. "We fight to protect." The hunter struck. Daniel moved at the last second. He triggered a device under the floor. The hunter fell into a deep maintenance shaft. Its roar echoed until silence followed. The room stared. One apex hunter down. By strength, by choice. The remaining hunters stepped back. They regrouped. They studied Daniel again. The female officer stood up slowly, shaken. "Why are they hesitating?" she asked. Daniel answered quietly. "Because they don't know what we'll do next." Another message appeared. "You are unpredictable." Daniel nodded. "Yes," he said. "That's why you're afraid." The hunters paused. For the first time, they were unsure. They had faced weapons. They had faced armies, but they had never faced a species that could choose to fight or not, without fear deciding for them. Daniel turned to the survivors. "This isn't about winning," he said. "It's about teaching them." The station went silent. The apex hunters slowly withdrew again, not fleeing. Reconsidering. Outside the station, signals spread across space. Human behavior logged. Human psychology flagged. Apex threat level updated, and for the first time in galactic records, humans were no longer labeled prey. They were labeled unknown, and unknown was dangerous. The station felt different after the second retreat. Not quieter, heavier. The Apex hunters had pulled back beyond scanner range, but no one believed the danger was gone. They never retreated without reason. Medical teams moved through the hall, helping the injured. Damaged walls sparked and hissed. The smell of burned metal filled the air. Daniel sat on a crate near the center of the hall. His armor was scratched. His hands were steady. The female officer approached him slowly. Her earlier confidence was gone. "You saved lives," she said. Daniel nodded once. "You fought like a veteran," she continued. Daniel looked up at her. "No," he said. "I didn't." That answer confused her. The senior commander joined them. "We've reviewed the battle," he said. "You predicted their behavior before it happened." Daniel remained calm. "You're not just a trainee, are you?" The commander asked. Daniel stood up. "I am," he said. "Exactly that." The commander frowned. "That's not possible." Daniel walked toward the main screen and activated it. Human military records appeared. Basic training footage. Simple drills. Survival simulations. "This is my training," Daniel said. "No elite program, no special unit." The room filled with whispers. "You defeated Apex hunters," a trainee said. "How can this be basic?" Daniel turned to face them. "Because humans train for loss," he said. "We expect it." That sentence cut deep. He continued, his voice calm and clear. "Our planet is hostile. Our history is violent. We learned early that strength fails. Weapons fail." He pointed to the damaged hall. "But thinking survives." The female officer crossed her arms tightly. "You're saying any human could do this?" Daniel nodded. "I'm average," he said. "Not the best. Not the worst." That frightened them more than the hunters. Outside the station, the Apex hunters watched. Their sensors recorded every movement, every hesitation, every decision. Their leaders communicated in low-frequency pulses. The human is not unique. Confirmed. Species-wide trait. The data spread fast. Elsewhere in the galaxy, hidden observation posts activated. Old records reopened. Human wars. Human losses. Human survival. Again and again. Daniel was not an exception. He was a pattern. Inside the station, the commander made a decision. "All personnel," he announced. "This human will brief us." Eyes turned toward Daniel. "I don't command you," Daniel said. "But I can explain." He displayed a simple diagram. Apex hunters' movement loops. Decision delays. Fear responses. "They don't fear death," Daniel explained. "They fear uncertainty." The female officer clenched her jaw. "We mocked you." "Yes," Daniel replied. "And that gave me time." The hunters sent another message. "Human, why do you train prey?" Daniel stepped toward the screen. "We don't train prey," he said. "We train survivors." The reply took longer this time. "How many like you?" Daniel did not hesitate. "Billions." That word echoed. The hunters did not respond immediately. They processed. Calculated. Feared. Finally, a message appeared. "Conflict with humans results in unacceptable losses." The female officer whispered. "They're backing down." Daniel shook his head. "No," he said. "They're learning restraint." The Apex hunters disengaged fully. Ships pulled away from the station. Retreat signals confirmed. Across the galaxy, the event was logged. A single human trainee altered Apex behavior. Not through power. Through truth. The commander looked at Daniel. "What happens now?" Daniel looked out at the stars. "Now," he said, "you stop laughing." The station slowly returned to normal operations. But nothing was truly normal anymore. The galaxy had seen humanity clearly, not as conquerors, not as monsters, but as something far worse. Species that adapts. A species that chooses. A species that never stops learning. And the apex hunters understood one final truth. If one average human could do this, then facing humanity at full strength would be the last mistake any predator ever made. Asterisk. The confirmation came quietly. No alarms. No explosions. Just a single message from long-range sensors. Apex Hunter Fleet WATORAWYNG. For a moment, no one inside Station K-47 reacted. Then the words truly settled in. They were leaving. The Apex Hunters, feared across the galaxy, known for never retreating, were pulling back. Some trainees sat down where they stood. Others leaned against damaged walls, exhausted. A few stared at the screen in disbelief. The female officer closed her eyes slowly. They chose to survive. She whispered. That sentence carried weight. The senior commander straightened his uniform. All stations, he said over the channel. Stand down from emergency status, weapons powered down. Energy fields faded, but the tension remained. Daniel stood near the observation window, watching the distant stars. He saw nothing special, just empty space. Where danger had been moments before. The officer approached him again. Her steps were slower now. Careful, I misjudged you, she said. Daniel did not turn. Yes, he replied. She swallowed. That laughter, it was wrong. Daniel faced her then. You laughed because you felt safe, he said. That's normal, she frowned. And now? Now, Daniel said. You know safety is temporary. The commander joined them. High Command will want answers, he said. They will ask why a trainee changed the outcome. Daniel nodded. Tell them the truth. The commander raised an eyebrow. And what is that? Daniel looked back at the stars. That humans prepare for loss, he said. We don't expect fairness. Across the void, the Apex Hunters regrouped. Their ships formed precise patterns. No panic. No disorder. They were thinking. Their leaders. Shared data. Human reactions under pressure. Human refusal to flee. Human willingness to sacrifice position for time. One message repeated again and again. Unpredictable response. CONFIR. Hunters adjusted their doctrine. Predators adapted or they died. On Station K-47, word spread fast. Other sectors requested reports. Other species listened closely. A meeting was called. Daniel stood in a circular chamber surrounded by alien representatives. Some looked curious. Others looked afraid. You were mocked, one delegate said. Yet you did not respond with anger. Daniel answered calmly. Anger is easy, he said. Control is harder. Another asked, Are all humans trained? Like this? Daniel nodded. Double quotes in different ways, he said. But yes. The room grew quiet. The female officer stepped forward. She removed her rank insignia and placed it on the table. I failed, she said. I judged strength by size. And power. She looked at Daniel. I apologize. That moment was recorded. Not because of protocol. Because it mattered. Daniel accepted the apology with a simple nod. Learn from it, he said. Outside the station, the Apex Hunters sent one final transmission. Short, clear. Humans are not prey. The message echoed through galactic networks. Treaties shifted. Training programs changed. Risk calculations updated. Humanity's status moved. Not to dominant. Not to supreme. But to something far more dangerous. Unavoidable. The commander watched Daniel leave the chamber. You changed history, he said. Daniel paused at the doorway. No, he replied. I reminded it. Later, as repairs continued, trainees spoke in low voices. They laughed at him, one said. They won't laugh again. Daniel returned to his assigned quarters, plain, small. He removed his armor and sat on the bed. Tomorrow, training would continue. Humans did not stop because they survived. They trained because they might not. Far away. Apex Hunter observers logged the final note. Engagement with humans to be avoided. Not due to weakness. Due to cost. And in that cold calculation, the galaxy understood. The Apex Hunters did not retreat because they lost. They retreated because fighting humans was no longer worth the risk. The station returned to routine within days. Repairs were finished. Training resumed. Orders came and went. But nothing felt the same. Station K47 had become a name spoken carefully across the galaxy, not because it was destroyed, but because it survived. And because of one human trainee. Daniel walked through the training hall again. This time, the room was silent. No whispers, no laughter. Alien stood straighter as he passed. Some nodded in respect. Others avoided his eyes. Daniel did not react. He took his place at the end of the line. Just as before, the female officer entered the hall. Her armor was repaired, but her posture had changed. There was no pride in her step now, only control. Begin. Drills, she ordered. Training started. The aliens moved with strength. Daniel moved with awareness. When mistakes happened, eyes turned toward him, not in mockery, but for guidance. Later that day, a transmission arrived from High Command. Every screen lit up. The message was simple. Apex Hunter contact. Avoidance protocol. The room grew quiet. Apex Hunters were officially avoiding human forces. Not negotiating. Avoiding. A senior instructor spoke softly. They fear us. Daniel shook his head. No, he said. They understand us. That difference mattered. Across the galaxy, the story spread. Some told it wrong. They said the human defeated Apex Hunters alone. They said he was a weapon. A super-soldier. Daniel corrected them every time. I am not special, he said. I am normal. That truth was harder to accept. A historian recorded the event. What should we call this moment? She asked. Daniel thought for a long time. Call it a lesson. He said. The lesson spread faster than the legend. Humans were invited into councils. Human advisors were requested. Human tactics were studied. Not for their power, for their thinking. The female officer met Daniel one final time before his transfer. You changed how we see strength, she said. Daniel replied calmly. Strength is loud, he said. Survival is quiet. She bowed her head slightly. That too was recorded. Far beyond known space. Apex Hunter Command reviewed the final data. Human psychology classified. Human unpredictability confirmed. A final note was added to their doctrine. Do not mock humans. Do not corner humans. Do not force humans to choose. Because when humans chose, they did not choose fear. They chose action. On his final day at station K47, Daniel stood by the observation window. Once more. Stars burned silently beyond the glass. A trainee approached him. You were laughed at, the trainee said. How did that not break you? Daniel answered without turning. Laughter means they don't see you, he said. That's an advantage. The trainee nodded slowly. Daniel boarded the transport ship. No ceremony. No praise, just another assignment. Because humans did not seek glory. He prepared. As the ship pulled away, Station K47 grew small, but its lesson remained large. Across the galaxy, species updated their warnings. Humans were no longer underestimated. They were no longer mocked. They were understood as something far more dangerous than strength. They adapted. They learned. They endured. And whenever someone laughed at a human, again they remembered the Apex Hunters. They remembered the retreat. They remembered the moment laughter turned into silence. And silence turned into legend.